Use code AFTV20 for 20% off your order with Fireaway Pizza. Just click the link in the description below or go to fireaway.co.uk now.
AFTV, Bayern Munich 1, Arsenal 0, out of the Champions League at the quarter-final stage. Laurie, it's real disappointing tonight.
Very disappointing. Out with a whimper. I've got to say it, man. Got to keep it real. I back the team. I support the team. I try and be positive where I deem that positivity is required. But today we just got to be honest. I think we were a little bit exposed today, man. In all honesty, I don't think what we've seen in our Champions League campaign that we're up to it.
Absolutely. And obviously you mentioned about the positivity, but at the same time you've got to point out the negatives where there are negatives as well. And you know, for me especially in that second half, and it's not the first time we've seen it this season, literally the last game against Aston Villa, we were nowhere near up to the standards that we should have been.
Nowhere near. It's interesting because at the start, when the draw came out of the hat, people were highlighting people like Eric Dyer as a weak link. He actually had 2 really good games against us. But yeah, to go back to what I was saying earlier, I'm very disappointed in that performance because for me, I think there's a way in which to lose. If you go out there and you do your best and you're positive and you try and win and you fall short, I will give you credit for that. If what we saw tonight, in particular the second half, I thought the first half, to be fair, we actually shaded it. But in the second half, man, the levels dropped, the intensity dropped. We didn't show any real belief, any real conviction in ourselves. And once Kimmich got that goal, I think that was around about the 62nd minute he got that. Listen, bro, we could be playing till tomorrow night. I don't think we would have scored. We just didn't look like scoring.
Absolutely, and no stat brings that up better than I think it was 3 or 4 shots in that whole second half. Not a single one on target. The word that I used on CBS to explain the second half performance as a whole was spineless. Would you agree with that?
It's not far wrong. You know what I mean? Because we didn't show any conviction. We didn't show any real. We didn't go after the game. Like, I mean. And I've got to say as well, the manager, I mean, he's going to cop it tonight. You know what I mean? I think I do feel a little bit sorry for him because he's going to get it, man. I mean, and to be fair, people will be right to call him out because, again, the substitutions were a little bit late. Bringing on Eddie with 5 minutes to go, I mean, come on, bro, what's that going to do? I just think that the tactics, the substitutions, we displayed today a lack of real nous. I've always said that Champions League football is a more nuanced game than the Premier League games are. So you've got to try and come with something. You're up against a team like Bayern Munich. They're a very good team. Okay, they're underperforming their domestic league, but we know that they're a European powerhouse. You're not going to play like that in the second half and beat a team like that. You've got to be innovative. You've got to be brave. You've got to have players who demand the ball and their first pass is going to be forward. We didn't see enough of that time. We didn't see enough shots on goal. We didn't see players trying to take players on. I was saying to my man over there, Sharoy, I didn't see Saka and Martinelli look like they wanted to go past their defenders. All too easy to cut back and play a safe pass. We didn't play through the lines. I could go on. You know what I mean? It was very disappointing, man. Very disappointing.
Absolutely. And obviously you mentioned there about Mikel Arteta is probably going to get a lot of the stick tonight. One thing I think a lot of fans could agree on is I think the starting 11 as a whole, a lot of us agreed with the starting 11. For me, it's just the changes. A, obviously the time that they're being made, and B, I don't necessarily think that he made the right changes at the time that he did. Do you agree?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only thing with the starting 11, I would like to have seen Partey in, but he went with Jorginho. Now, to me, I thought Jorginho had a decent game.
Absolutely.
He seemed to be the one guy that was trying to play through the lines, him and Declan Rice. However, it wasn't quite working for him. And if you're going to bring him on, you know what I mean? Mate, I don't know, mate. We just fell into that trap where it just seemed like it was the same old, same old. You know what I mean? And we didn't really show any spark. Like I said, we lacked conviction, we lacked belief. There was no dynamism, you know what I mean? There was no energy there. Am I being unfair?
No, I don't think.
That's how my reading of the game was. There was no real energy, and we made it too easy for Bayern to defend against us. And like I said, a team like that, they're not going to slip up. They're at home. At times, they look very comfortable.
Again, over the last few games, there's been situations where, you know, they've almost gifted opportunities to us on a plate, and we just haven't been able to take them. And I feel like we're in a situation where, you know, when we're playing against these teams like Bayern Munich, you have to punish these mistakes, because, you know, they're going to punish your mistakes, and this is exactly what we see.
Did you see,
today.
right? Correct me if I'm wrong, because if I am wrong, tell me.
Of course.
Did you see Saka, Martinelli, or any of the forward players pick up the ball and drive? When I say, I mean drive at their man and say, right, I'm going to go past you, or I'm going to get a foul. How many times did you see that?
Oh, I remember seeing...
In the second half?
In the second half, not once, but obviously in the first half you saw Saka took on Mazraoui quite early on in the game. I think Gabriel Martinelli ran at his man quite a bit, but I completely agree with you.
So would you agree with me that there was nowhere near enough of that? Now,
Absolutely
what I'm saying, if you're chasing a game, you've got to be brave and go for it. And I didn't see that tonight. I just see a team that was trying to do what they always do, hoping it was going to work. You didn't have that real conviction, that real belief, that real spark, that real energy to say, right, we're going to go get this. Let's go get it. You know what I mean? I didn't see that at all. And like I said, the manager's substitutions kind of reflected that. Look, listen, I know Trossard coming on. Trossard is a guy that can make an impact off the bench. So listen, I've got no problem with that substitution per se. I'm more talking about the style of play. I just thought we were disappointing in that second half. Never really looked like we were going to get back in it. And to me, that's disappointing. And I think the only slight positive that I can, if it is a positive, I guess it's, you have to take positives from a performance like tonight, because it's so disappointing. It's the fact that now we're out the Champions League, we can focus all our energies on these last 6 games, which are absolutely crucial, because I would hate to think that we're going to come away with the season from nothing. But at the moment, right now, it's looking like it is good.
Absolutely. Obviously, me and you spoke before the game, of course, and I think I said to you, if we was to lose today, we're running the risk of potentially our season spiralling out of control. Can you see that happening at this point? Obviously, we lost narrowly today, albeit, but still a negative result, 2 losses in a row. It's not looking good at this moment in time.
You're right. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. Based on what we've seen over the last 2 games, you have to say the season is in danger of imploding. And when I say that, I don't want to be negative. I'm trying to be positive. So the only thing I can say is the manager obviously going to have a couple of days rest, or a day's rest, or whatever it is, when they get back to England. Go again, focus, recharge the batteries, find a spark from somewhere. I don't think we can go to Dubai and back between now and Saturday when we play Wolves, but he's got to find something to re-energise these players, because 2 games on the row now, 2 flat second half performances, and it's not good enough at this level.
Absolutely, and obviously just to round things off there, you mentioned we've got the game against Wolves on the weekend. Despite the result today, are you still confident going into that game?
Well, I've got to be confident. There's no point in me lambasting the players for not showing bravery and confidence, and then us as fans sitting back and accepting mediocre performances like tonight, the second half especially. Listen, come Saturday, it's a whole new game. We've got to refocus our energies. There's still a lot to play for. 6 games, let's go for it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Laurie.